are SSL certificates. We'll begin our discussion by exploring how SSL certificates are used to secure communication and prove identity. SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer. An SSL certificate is a digital certificate that contains various data elements and encrypts information sent to the server using SSL technology. Since this definition can sound a bit confusing, let's simplify it using an example. Since an SSL certificate is a digital certificate, we can compare it with something most of us are likely familiar with, a traditional print certificate issued by some authority, perhaps a college or university. In this illustration, we can see that the certificate contains various fields. To start, we can see who has issued the certificate. In this example, XYZ University. Alternatively, if you went to another university, such as Harvard, the issuing authority would be Harvard. In the same context, an electronic certificate is also issued by an authority. By analyzing the data in a digital certificate, we can easily determine the issuing authority. Just like colleges and university certificates, SSL issuing authorities will have varying degrees of credibility. By conducting a simple internet search, we can see a large number of certificate authorities to choose from. The amount of information you need to provide in order to obtain a certificate will depend on the type of certificate you require. We'll discuss more on this later. On this Google search of SSL certificate authority, we can see a few well-known brands. We have DigiCert, GoDaddy, GlobalSign, Let's Encrypt, which we'll be working with quite a bit in this course. As you might guess, obtaining a certificate of graduation from Harvard would likely be harder than one issued by a local community college. The same is true for certificate authorities. Digital certificate authorities work the same way. It's up to the visitor of the web page to determine if they trust the body which has issued the certificate. Would you trust a certificate issued by Microsoft? Or on the contrary, would you trust a certificate issued by an unknown brand with a small internet footprint? Probably not. The next point of importance on a digital certificate is who it's issued to. Looking back at our traditional certificate, we can see it's issued to John Smith. A digital certificate, on the other hand, can be issued to a user, computer, device, or web page. Similar to a traditional certificate, the name on a digital certificate can be checked to make sure it's used by the intended recipient. If not, the certificate authority will reject the certificate. Another similarity between our traditional and digital certificate is the validity date. Some schools require you to take periodic exams to renew your certificate. A digital certificate also requires renewal. Using the methods we teach in subsequent lectures, you can easily automate this renewal process. Keep in mind that an SSL certificate cannot be used past its expiry date if it is not renewed with the issuing authority. A digital certificate also contains a public key, which we'll discuss later on. This is one unique attribute that a digital certificate has that a traditional certificate does not. A digital certificate also has a digital signature, which can be compared to the wax seal on a traditional certificate. The signature proves that the certificate came from a trusted source, and it's not a fake. Furthermore, the digital certificate can be used to determine if any data fields in the certificate have been altered. We will discuss digital signatures in more detail later in this course. So who decides if a certificate authority can be trusted? In order to understand that, it's important to recognize that all operating systems, mobile devices, and browsers operate authorized certificate authority membership programs. A certificate authority, also known as a CA, must be accepted as a member by complying with certain criteria. It's important to note that CAs can be both private companies and government organizations, but there are a relatively small number of them. As a general rule, the certificates issued by CAs that have been operational for a longer period of time are more highly trusted. This is because they have a higher ubiquity factor, which means their certificates are compatible with older browsers and older mobile devices.